surrounded his car and began giving him verbal commands. The situation escalated when Mr. Reed did not comply with those commands, and multiple officers pointed their guns at him while continuing to shout the commands. Within less than a minute, an exchange of gunfire occurred, leaving Mr. Reed dead, and an officer shot in the forearm.
So there are two big questions here. There's a lot of questions, Jim, but the two big ones are, number one, did he fire?
For one, they don't got no uniforms on. No uniforms on. Why?
And why did the officers show up there in the first place? It is curious, certainly, that 5 ununiformed officers come to a seatbelt violation. The other big question from Kim Fox's perspective, she, of course, the Cook County State's attorney, is was the use of force here reasonable? COPA seems to indicate here in the early innings of this that it was reasonable, but there's a whole host of questions and interviews that need to be done to kind of button that up. We're going to have much more. This story is going to be evolving throughout the day. Again, we're going to be hearing from Mr. Reed's family at noon. Questions are going to be asked of the COPA director later this afternoon. And of course, the questions will be focused on what those officers did, why they were there, and whether or not the use of force was justified. So, Jim, that's where we sit here on a story that's just kind of evolving here 19 days after the death of Dexter Reed.
Chris Ty in the newsroom, thanks so much. You'll be working the story all day. Our team coverage of this breaking news continues now with Sarah Maki at the Civilian Office of Police.
This is why we need to protect each other, man. This is why we need to protect each other. I mess with what J Main doing. Push the piece, man.
Lady Sarah.
Yeah, we're expecting to hear from the family of 26-year-old Dexter Reed in just under an hour, as Chris was saying. They have previously hired a lawyer who called this shooting unjustified. That attorney and family members will be out here. But even before that video was released, in a letter from that attorney to Mayor Brandon Johnson, Reed's family spoke of his basketball career with Morton College and Cicero. They talked about how Reed was the middle of 3 siblings, that he was known to his friends, his family, and his coaches as Dex, humanizing the man that is now at the center of this. They talked about his aspirations to become a sports broadcaster and his interests, saying that his favorite musician was Jay-Z, that he loved food and healthy food. Now, this shooting has been getting the attention of the neighbors in this area since it happened. One of the people who lives around there getting some video online. It did not show what happened leading up to the shots, but it did catch the sound of dozens of gunshots. And even before the videos released, community members were planning several events reacting to this unseen video.
This is crazy, man. RP Dexter Reed, man. Y'all like, comment, hit the sub button, man. We're gonna be back with more stories and more videos. Gang.